guys, and welcome back to my basic CSS and HTML tutorial. In this video we're going to get started using tags in HTML and coding up our website. So let's get started. So from the last thing, we have this class, we have this div that we made, and that's called class header with my web page written in it. So depending on how you want your website, you can either have your head bar here stick to the top as you scroll, like a lot of popular websites, or you can have it just sort of stay at the top until you scroll and then scroll normally. We're going to be covering both because there's one line of code that needs to be changed for both, which makes it very easy. So let's get started. In your header size, let's get started by removing this font size. We don't need that. We're going to change up that stuff. So first things first, let's start with sticky, as it is the more complex version. So when you're trying to position an element and say where you want it to sit, you generally have to set a position to it. So this one, the three positions are inherit, which inherits the element of whatever it's docked in, absolute, fixed, and relative. Static you very rarely use, so in this one we're going to be basically just using absolute, fixed, and relative. Absolute means that it will it isn't relative to the container that it's in, but it doesn't say fixed on the page. Fixed is what it sounds like. It's fixed to the page and it will stay wherever it is. It's wherever it's positioned as you scroll. Now relative means it's relative to whatever container it is in. So we're going to be using fixed, because we want it to fix to the top. So let's add our colon and create some space. The next thing that we're going to want to do is we want it to be right smushed up against the top. So we're going to say top 0 pixels. Then we want it to be the width to be equal to the entire width of the page. So we're going to set width is equal to 100% of the page. And then we're going to want to set our we're going to want to make sure that it's positioned as far left as it can go. So because if we do this right now, it will still be slightly indented, whereas if we add left 0 pixel, because of the natural padding of the page, whereas if we add left 0 pixels, it will push it up right against the left. So once you've got that, you will need to hold on a second. Okay, so once you have that done, you're going to need to add. We're just going to set a basic background color. Background color is equal to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Now we covered color codes in the last video. There will be a link in the description to this one, and I didn't have a link in the last video, so I'm sorry about that. Again, I'll run through that video before I post this and add those links in this description. Well, I don't know, just look in the description. But moving on, you're gonna have to set a background color, as that makes everything smoother, I guess. It'll make it easier to see where your element is, and you don't have to keep this background color. This is just to see how it's positioned at the moment. For our height, we're going to set that to 80 pixels. Now the reason that we're setting it to 80 pixels is 80 pixels is enough of an amount to be noticed, but it's not enough to be obnoxious. And also we're setting the width to 100% because that means it'll stretch across the top. So save that and go back to your page and view that in your browser. So if we just pop that up here, as you can see, we have a nice bar across the top here. That is our header bar. So next things next, we're going to, if you'll notice something, let's add an H1 tag quick. That's, as we covered in the last video, that's the biggest, we might have, but just a quick review. H's are headers. So this H1 through 6, and 1 is the largest. So say my website. Now the text is by default black, so in our header we're going to add font color is equal to FFFFF, and that is white. Now if you notice, we go back to our web page here, refresh. That did not work. Give it a quick mark. You don't write font. I'm an idiot, sorry. There we go. So now if we go back to our website and refresh, as you can see, we have my website right up there in the corner. That's pretty neat. Let's go back to our next thing. So if you'll notice, that was as far right as it could be over here. And now what if we wanted to make sure that it was always on that side unless we got to, say, bigger than 1000 pixels. Then it would stay right here at the max. So it's going to be hard to explain right now, but Once we're finished, it'll be easy to see. So first things first, we're going to create another div tag inside of the header, and this is going to be called the menu bar. So div class menu bar. Take the div and put that there. Now I'm just going to do some indenting because it keeps my page cleaner, like that. So in our menu bar, we're going to go and add some styles. So dot menu bar, to signify that we're looking for a class here. We're going to say the position is once again relative, or this because it's going to be relative to the header container, and the width is going to be also 100%. But because this means that it will, now we're going to add another thing called max width. This means that it will always be 100% until it reaches this set amount, which we're going to set to be 1,000 pixels. This means that it will always be 1,000% until you hit 100 pixels. Now I'm going to add a color. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I believe it's red though. And this will allow us to see where it is. Now normally, if we go to our page and refresh, you can see it's red. Now we don't want that. We want it, or it's over on this side. We want it to be centered. Now I haven't tested this center method yet in this website, but I'm pretty sure it'll work. So what you want to do is you want to set it like this. Margin is 0 on either side, auto, like that. Margin is equal to 0 auto. Save that. Head back into our page and refresh. As you can see, it centered it. Now if we collapse our website, it will stay at that same width until we get to more than 1,000 pixels, at which point it will automatically adjust. So let's remove our background color from this because we don't need that anymore. Background color, we're just going to remove completely. Cool. So now that we've got that done, we're going to add ourselves the rest of our content. And I'm not gonna do a lot on this header. We're gonna cover the header in a more in-depth video, probably in the next video. But now I'm just gonna show you guys some basic content. First things first, go to we're gonna be using some basic code, which I will grab quick. Okay, so when I meant code, I didn't actually mean code. I just meant some content for our page, which I used a lorem ipsum generator, which you can just search to grab that content. So now we're gonna pop that content in a div right here in the middle, like that. Now if you go back to our page, as you can see, we have some content, but it's weirdly spaced. You're thinking, huh, this is weird. So the way to fix that is by going into your website thing here, and we're going to go to our body, and we're going to set a pretty big margin from the top. So if we're going to go into our body tag right here, we're going to say padding dash top is equal to, how big is our header? Our header was 80 pixels, so we're going to set this to 90 pixels, so there's a small break. It might be margin, I'm not sure, but I think this works. Yeah, there we go. As you can see, it bumped it down a bit. And now we have some beautiful text on our website. The next thing that we're going to do is, it's already padded pretty well from the side, but we want it to be, once again, in that same max width idea. So we're going to apply the same thing. First things first, we're going to put into a div, and we're going to name that div content. So copy that div tag and throw that on the bottom. Now we have our content, so we can go down here and say dot content to add ourselves some styles. So let's kick it off by adding the same stuff up here. Now I'm pretty sure that we can just copy this and use it because it has the same general idea, and since it's relative, this time it'll be relative to the container, which is the container for this is the body. It's not the header, so it will be relative. So press F5. As you can see, if we adjust down, get things, but if you get bigger, it works just like that. Next, just to prove that the header is static, it'll look like that. You notice, for some reason, our font is, as you can notice, I can copy above this. And we're going to fix that quick. So the way to do that is using something called z-index, and this is what we're going to be using a lot during our code. And what z-index does is it basically orders, like in an image, how you want the page to perform. So let's start by setting our header to have a z-index of 100. This is, I guess, this is high for our page. And I'm going to have our Now we're gonna have our content have a z index of 101, just to fix some browser issues, I guess, just to make sure that it runs smoothly. And then we're gonna set our content to have a z index of 50. That means that if we go back to our page, which was previously scrolling weirdly, as you can see the text above this, do a quick refresh. Now the text is behind it. Likewise, now that's it for this video. Be sure to check out the next video when I get it posted. And if you haven't seen the first one, check that one out too. Once again, thanks.